Okay, so let's get right into this. A person asked me essentially, it was this morning, hey, are things going to get so bad that the Social Security Administration's employees will strike and walk off and I won't be able to get my check? And that struck me because I've never had that question. I just didn't know the answer. I was like, I don't know because, I mean, can't they have unions? So can't they strike? I mean, surely they can strike, right? And here's the truth: federal employees can't strike. Bottom line, written into the code, they're not allowed to strike. Let me read to you basics here, but let me explain why we're not totally out of the woodshed yet when it comes to this. So, this is from an article, 2019, Deborah D'Agostino, govexec.com. It's the law, specifically 5 USC section 7311, specifies that federal employees may not participate in a strike, assert the right to strike, or even belong to a union that basically asserts the right to strike against the government of the United States. Now, driving the point home, 18 USC 19, section 1918 makes it a felony to strike against the United States or belong to a union, okay, that basically would allow that same thing. Now, what's more interesting is that the Office of Personnel Management, it's like the office that oversees all the employees, can declare an individual who participates in a strike unsuitable for federal employment, potentially forever. Most famously, almost 40 years ago in 1981, about 13,000 air traffic controllers went on strike after negotiations over pay and schedules broke down between the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization and the Federal Aviation Administration. President Reagan declared the strike a peril to national safety and ordered the air traffic controllers back to work. In the end, President Reagan fired 11,000 of those 13,000 air controllers and barred them from ever working for the federal government again. Almost 40 years later, most federal employees are still familiar with how that strike played out, which, one reason Border Patrol agents, Customs, and Border Protection officers, Secret Service agents, officers, and other reported forward duty, many working grueling overtime shifts without pay, don't go on strike. Now, the reason he brought up this question was that he is fully aware that the unions are a little bit, they're in a unique spot when it comes to the Social Security Administration because, as you know, the morale with the employees of the SSA is extremely low right now. They are around 60 to 65,000 employees. They should be around 90 to 95,000 employees. So they're missing about 30,000 employees of what they should have. They're a third low on what they would need to actually operate properly as a Social Security Administration. The grand chunk of tax dollars went to the IRS to hire IRS individuals who would go ahead and basically find people who aren't paying taxes, potential with a sidearm. So the SSA was not the glimmer of light among Congress's views when it comes to funding the agency. Right, the IRS got the big chunk of money, the SSA got a small chunk of money in comparison. Now, here's the thing you need to know. Martin O'Malley replaced Commissioner Kijakazi. Martin O'Malley is a more aggressive leader than Commissioner Kijakazi. I think most people would agree with that. He's more aggressive in that regard. Doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's just we're going to see what happens. Let me read to you some of the details from a February 2nd, so a couple of days ago, 11:13 a.m. Molly Weisner, federaltimes.com article, and specifically what it says. AFGE, that's one of the unions that represents SSA employees, is very pleased that the commissioner is maintaining telework at current levels for the overwhelming majority of our hardworking employees nationwide, including in our field offices, hearing offices, and appeals council, teleservice centers, payment centers, and more, he said in the statement to the Federal Times. That said, our members are anxious regarding the future of telework and that more cuts are forthcoming. He added many employees fear that agency executives and managers will make cuts to employee telework out of spite for their own telework having been reduced. AFGE will not tolerate any such actions. Okay. So, all right, let me just summarize what's happening. When COVID hit, the SSA sent a lot of people home, brought some back, cubicle, but made this one blank. And they allowed for a lot of telework. The SSA employees, they dig working from home. They dig it. They dig it big time. New commissioner Martin O'Malley just came out with new rules that a lot of the executive staff has to be in office so many times a day, and it's increasing for most of them. He, chief among them, the only person, literally the only person at the SSA who's required. It feels weird when I say this because I think about like the local chain store guy that works at like, the local gas station who has to show up 5 days a week. Like when I think about like that guy or that, female or man or woman or whatever, it's just because they have to show up 5 days a week. But Commissioner Martin O'Malley will be the only required employee of the SSA to show up for 5 days a week. Oh, what a burden. And I get it. He's in a shitty spot. He's in a very tough spot because the employees of the SSA now have a little bit of spoiling to them, because they're like, I want to work from home. I like working from home. And, 2 days, and then, for local field office people, and then the rest are at home, stuff like that. It's gonna look, let's just be honest. If they were in office, they'd be more productive and achieve more for especially those that are on the ground, right? The field office people getting direct management on the ground, they'd probably get more work out of them. Upper executives, you can have them working more from other places because a lot of it's just thinking. How do I create this? How do I make this more efficient? How do I, deliver this better to the American people? It's more of a thinking logic game. But bottom line is this. If you look at the spectrum of workers, the SSA has every type of worker, right? You've got, everything from the person cleaning the floor to the person meeting with the people to the person figuring out how $1.4 trillion is going to be going out of accounts over a 1-year period and into other accounts. So they've got the whole plethora of every type of employee. Now, the reason the claimant asked me this question was because the union is drawing a line in the sand. And the union is saying, okay, Commissioner Martin O'Malley, you made your executives work more in office hours. But we all know, nobody's an idiot here, that first the executives go back. The leadership, lead by showing the people, right? One of those kind of gigs. The leadership will show. Lead by example. Once they're in, what are we? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months away from everybody else having to come back to the SSA. Now the union is saying, we won't have it. We won't have it. But the kicker is this. The union has no strike option. I mean, they do, but then the union will be collapsed. And those, who are part of the union will have to figure out a new union kind of gig. And those who strike never get to work for the government again. So the ironic thing is there is a benefit to having a union representing you when you work for the federal government. It's just not a big benefit in the sense of like the mighty nuclear strike option, the walkout option. So what's happening is Commissioner Martin O'Malley knows this. Commissioner Martin O'Malley is in a tricky spot because he doesn't have enough people to run the SSA properly. If he could add another 10,000 people, that would get the boat rolling in the right direction, right? Get things steamed up, starting to feel good. Wait times, phone times start getting decreased. But it's got a problem. They can't hire enough people fast enough for the amount of people, especially the DDS reps, that are leaving. So he's in this tricky, scary spot. And that's because those people in the union are not going to be very helpful with future employees joining up and, wanting them to join up with the SSA unless the union gets what it wants. So the commissioner of the SSA is in a tricky spot. He knows that they're not going to go ahead and do a walkout where, everybody just can't call the SSA. Nobody can walk into the office and talk to somebody. He knows they're not going to do that. But he also knows that they can make it really shitty for the SSA to hire more employees and retain and keep those employees. Here's the kicker. I'm going to read you another article real quick to explain what's going on with this. AFGE wins new workplace rights and new contract agreement with the SSA. This was July 24th, 2023. This was under Commissioner Kijikazi. It's by afge.org, specifically their exact website. Let me read to you real quick. AFGE has reached an agreement with the Social Security Administration allowing 42,000 SSA employees nationwide represented by AFGE to enjoy new workplace rights and protections. So 42,000 of the 60 to 65,000 that they have. So AFGE is the big dog with the waggling tail, right? They've got the most employees as far as the unions go. Because remember, different groups have different unions. Like the judges have their own union, blah, blah, blah. Cool. AFGE and SSA agreed on updates to 6 articles on the contract originally ratified in 2019, covering such issues as employee training and career development, employee rights, child care and elder care, disciplinary and adverse actions, and employee details to alternative duty stations. The entire contract also effect after it has been ratified by employees. The updated contract not only benefits employees, but also the American public. They serve as several provisions directly affect customer service. So what I'm saying here is AFGE just got some good. It's got some real good going its way, right? So AFGE just negotiated all these new amazing terms for their employees, 42,000 of the total 65,000. And this was recent. I mean, this was, what was this? This was finalized in July-ish area. Yeah, July. Let's see. So, okay, so this is updates on some of them. And then basically July 24th, 2023, that's when the article's coming out. So, and these are extended to 2029. They're covered for a long period here. So the kicker is this. Here are the highlights that AFGE just got for their employees at the SSA. Number 1, a new definition of workplace bullying, which will better protect employees. Number 2, temporary compassionate assignments up to 60 days to an alternate duty station for a temporary personnel situation outside of their control for reasons such as illness of a parent. Okay. Language advising employees of their rights to request reasonable accommodations during training. Improvements to lactation space for new mothers, including a mini fridge provided by the age store, expressed milk, separate from the general use break room fridge, which is really interesting because I never really thought about breast milk as like a thing, until I met somebody who basically has many kids who, obviously with many kids, you have to have lots of breast milk. So this is all interesting because I just never would have thought of it as like a thing. Cameraman, thank you for the $2 donation. I super appreciate that. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Virtual details, which are special projects or assignments that can be done remotely and would allow for new career opportunities within and between components. Extension of the January 23rd, 2023 Memorandum of Understanding regarding eligibility of telework for workers such as trainees, probationary employees, and employees with minor discipline. Adequate time to attend and complete assignment training. A new labor management partnership effort to address issues affecting both employees and beneficiaries in a more proactive manner. These new union management cooperation councils will be chaired and jointly run by the union and agency leaders. Oh, let me read that one again. That one's a saucy one. A new labor management partnership effort to address issues affecting both employees and beneficiaries in a more proactive manner. These new union management cooperation councils will be chaired and jointly run by union and agency leaders. I can tell you why that one happened. That one happened because Commissioner Kijikazi asked to have the communication from the union directed to a different individual during a communication, union meltdown. And I can tell you, and there was little things with that too. I can tell you, they used to call them, the SSA, their partners. And they were partners, but now they're definitely partners. Adequate time for employees to read emails such as agency transmittals, human resource internal communications and PolicyNet transmittal updates, funds for emergency backup care needs up to 5 days per calendar year starting October 2024 for those with dependent minors and or adults. Here's their little, their winning lap, their circle lap, whatever, race lap, whatever. We did it, quote. We are very pleased with the outcome of these negotiations, says AFGE Council 215 President Rich Couture, who served as the union's chief negotiator. This truly was a team effort from the folks at the bargaining table to the support we received from the AFGE national members of the public who rallied with us in support of our mission and benefits we deliver to tens of millions of Americans. So what's interesting here, just to solidify a background, is that in 2023, this agency, thank you, Christy Hughes for the $2 donation. That's awesome. Thank you. I super appreciate that. And that's That's guys. I really appreciate it, especially the donations right now because and Rosalind Thompson did a $3 donation. I didn't even see that. My apologies. With the little adorable fox, very cool. So, guys, I really appreciate the donations right now because Sweetie's surgery is going to be awful expensive, and it was kind of on the books that I knew I would have to like get money together to pay for that, but it wasn't totally on the books. Like I didn't know when this thing was going to hit. So I like started the beginning process of saving, putting money aside because I knew it was going to be expensive. Like thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars expensive. Okay, expensive. So point is, I really do appreciate the donations because it's just been like holy cannoli, you know. And this field, disability law, does not like the disability civilian attorneys. We don't make good money. The attorneys that do workers' comp, LTD, or potentially whatchamacallit, what's it called? VA, man, they make tons of good cash, good money. Not my field, civilian SSDI, SSI. We actually aren't taking nearly as many SSI claimants as we used to because we can't make enough money to actually process their claim in the way that we do. Because we spend a lot of time and effort and money and custom work on them, and we can't make enough money doing it. It's not a good situation for the SSA. But I don't think they're going to raise the attorney fees up to 33% like all the other attorneys get, which is what they wouldn't, but just is what it is. So anyways, AFGE got good stuff. They got the goods, the grava, the gravy in 2023. And they're covered until 2029. So the question is, can the SSA employees strike? Technically, yeah, but then they would all be banned from working for the federal government. Can the union push a strike? Yeah, but then it would be destroyed. It would be ended. So what's coming down to is the situation of AFGE wants to make a strong stand, but also they know that they just got Commissioner Kijikazi to bend a knee on a lot of things to give them, which, to be honest, I mean, these are all things they should have anyways. So it wasn't like a huge knee bend, right? But the bottom line here is this. And I think Commissioner Kijikazi, I just want to clarify something. I think Commissioner Kijikazi did a great job, like an amazing job. Like people attacked her for this, attacked her for that. But, look, it's not easy running, a giant agency like that. That's underfunded massively. Like it's just not easy. And then Commissioner Martin O'Malley. I mean, this is the only reason he's doing this is, I believe, for the potential of a presidential run. That's what I believe, a potential of a presidential run. Otherwise, why would you try to fix the SSA as a politician? Like it would be suicide. It would be terrible, horrible idea to try and fix the SSA as a politician. Like that's like the third rail where you touch it, you're dust. Cameraman, thank you. Yeah, see, but that's the thing is I'm coming into too late for the animal insurance. That's the kicker. She already had reviews and things like that. I just never got into it. And so by the time I was able to look at it as an option, it's too late. Like it's already pre-existing, yada yada. So I'm getting hit on this one. On the other side of the coin is I'm not a big fan of health insurance. My health insurance sucks. I pay almost $700 a month. And the bottom line is just like it's outrageous. It's so outrageous. I never use my health insurance. Like if I got hit by a car, I might use it, maybe not. When I get injured with with a chainsaw, you think I use it? No. No, I don't. When that thing flips down, it hits me in the leg. No, I'm not using it. Go get me the peroxide, go get me some stuff that I can pressurize it and we'll make it work. It's just for me, I just hate using insurance, but I think for my dogs, and that's the other thing too. My dogs are never really put in a situation where there could be danger. Like I've really blocked out where that they go. They live in a bubble. You know what I mean? Like a protective little bubble and there's treats rolling around the bubble. So, but yeah, no, it would have been great to have gotten the insurance in that regard. I would have really liked that one. But anyways, yeah, Christy, I have private insurance. Because everybody's freaked out. Because, with the stuff I do, everybody's freaked out that, like, something's going to happen. Like when you crawl inside an attic or you're on a bad roof fixing things or, basically you're around heavy machinery with giant hydraulics, like usually something will go bad. But I'm pretty smart about this stuff too, knock on wood, because I will stand back when it's, obliterating into pieces and there's, oil and fluid shooting all over the place. I'm one of those people like you could save the gear, but I'm going to stand over there type of guy, right? You can, and that's the other thing. Like there's certain basic rules that you have to know as a person that works with heavy equipment or all kinds of stuff. When some piece of equipment looks like it potentially could flip, right? You don't jump out of it. You stay inside it because it is built to flip and keep you alive, right? You do not go ahead and jump out of it. Rule number 2, when you're working with things with spinning blades or spinning chains, stuff like that, make sure they're tight and make sure that you have proper like stuff over your face. Because when that thing hits you in the chest, you're going to survive. But if it hits you in the face, you're going to have a miserable day. I mean, you're not going to go on dates feeling great. And also, you're just going to have a miserable day. Because, this is all your special senses are up here. You got your eyes, nose, ears, mouth, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I got a lot of rules. I love that. So Christy says, if he jumps, I jump. Remember, if you're in heavy machinery, you don't jump out if it's going to roll unless you're in water. Like that's the only time you would jump out and try and get out of the way as quickly as possible. And even then it's risky. You don't jump out. You stay in it because they're built with their framing to protect you in case it rolls. Like you don't jump out. A lot of people, and I get a lot of guys. Well, they will jump out of an excavator. They'll jump out of a front loader. They'll jump out of a bulldozer, which how the hell do you flip a bulldozer? Honestly, like that ground is supposed to be prepared enough to not flip a bulldozer. Sinkhole my ass. Come on now. So anyways, Euphoric Concepts, thank you for the sweetie donation. I do really appreciate it. Basically, Thursday, I will be leaving to go to the surgery site location. She'll be getting meds and prep. And then Friday morning, 9 a.m., she goes in. And which I feel horrible about because I just don't know specific. Like, how do you tell a dog that they're about to have their leg cut in half and then readjusted and then put back together? Like, how do you tell them that? So it's just a horrible, horrible thing. But I've got the best specialists in Florida doing it, and she's basically had 3 specialists look at her at this point and everything. So there's like been an effort. There's been a massive effort. And then I would deal with my sister, and this is simple deal is this. I help her out with her house stuff, which is a shitty deal for me. And then as a result, when my babies have a problem, like, they get full treatment, assessment, snuggles, the whole yada yada. But yeah, so, and I don't know if you guys have ever gone into the back like area of like a vet facility, but it is so scary and horrible because it's like all the things that they can't show you on YouTube. That's what's happening back there. It is emotionally draining when you go into that area with your dog. But anyways, and I will catch you guys. Yeah, Christy, I've been researching underground bunkers too. I wanted to get one. I just didn't have the funds to do it. But there's a guy in Florida who has a bunch of ones that were made by the government that you put on the back of an 18-wheeler trailer, and they're concrete. And I live near NASA and I live near Space Force. So the bottom line is like, if there's going to be a problem, and remember, there's a 2 mile. If there's like a big problem, like you know what I mean? Like like one of those problems. If there's one of those problems, you want to look at your 2 mile mark and your 10 mile mark, 2 mile and 10 mile. That's it. If you're outside the 2 mile mark, you might be okay, but your body's not going to be okay in the long run. If you're outside of the 10 mile mark, you should be okay. But it is what it is. I'm not. So, if there's ever like a bad day in Florida or whatever, just, realize like the channel will live in my presence. Oh, no, not in my I won't be present. So anyways, my apologies. Yeah, I do take them to the horse farm, but they are heavily separated from the horses. We build special fences along the fences to keep them away from the horses, where it's at least 6 feet of distance from the horse fence, because my dogs will do the dumbest shit on earth to get close to horses, and they just don't realize. And the renters' horses are cool with dogs, but my dogs are spoiled, chubby little, they'll do the dumbest crap. They will run up to a horse and try and bite its back leg. That's just dumb stuff. So not good farm dogs, Shadow tried to pee on one of the horses when he was on leash. Like, they're just not, you know what I mean? I don't, and Shadow's 30 pounds. The horse was at least 2,000 pounds. It was a big, big horse. So, you just, as a dog, you don't usually pee on a horse. It's not etiquette to It's not farm etiquette, if you will. So, anyways, I'll be watching Shadow. Shadow will be with me. Sweet will be with me. But anyways, I will catch you guys at the next video. I'm so sorry I went off track. But the next video is a really cool and fun one. It's one that I wrote a script for that I think is pretty cool. Specifically, we're going to be looking at if they have to cut retirement benefits, which, there's no plan yet. We're in Cutville. Every year, everybody tells me they'll fix it, but we're in Cutville right now. Every year that keeps happening, we're in Cutville. So the question is, will they cut retirement benefits for everybody, which is the fair thing to do, or will they cut it for everybody under 40, which is the unfair thing to do, but probably what older politicians will do. I will see you at the next video. Please remember to like. Please remember to subscribe. Please remember to leave a review if you want to. Go to Google and type in Disability Resolution Law Firm. I'm not sure how to move my hand to make, there you go. That's how you move it. And then also, thank you to the people who donated, and a super thank you to the members. I'll catch you guys at the next video. Give me about 5 minutes and we'll get rolling with that. Thanks so much. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.